Ladies and gentlemen, that was a fantastic interview. I'm really excited. We're going to be posting that up afterwards on YouTube. Don't forget to join and subscribe our channel. We're trying to build up a broader social media experience for our clients. Up next, though, is the event everyone's been waiting for, Fight Night. This is a live and interactive debate where you, the audience, will vote for the winners. Please feel free to comment and chat in the chat room as our guests battle it out in the Mock Debate Championship of 2022. Winners will be awarded a non-exclusive NFT shipped from Star Atlas. I know that's Alisher's project, but most importantly, bragging rights to being the most swaggy of swindlers of the year. Please remember that the debate is not necessarily the opinions of the contestants or the firms they represent. Really, it's all for a good laugh. First up, standing in for our defending champion is Mr. Mike Wong, co-founder of MaiCapital, and his OG teammate, Mr. 𝗜හි𝘃𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, founder of the world's first regulated crypto fund back in 2016, Bletchley Park, and now launching his new fund under the new firm, Larks Asset Management. Welcome, gents. How you guys doing?
Good, thanks. Michael, you're meant to be with me. You're meant to be green. You're red.
Oh, sorry. I'm on the wrong team. Hold on a second.
And we outnumbered.
While you fix that up, we'll introduce our challengers. Challengers today is Mr. Markus Thielen, previously now newly joined to Matrix Asset Management and probably the most active updates on crypto market. I love reading his work. Markus Thielen, and of course his partner Alisher Tashpulatov, ex-crypto finance AG and now turned stealth VC, enjoying sipping his margaritas on the moon with us. Welcome, gentlemen.
Morning.
Thanks, Alvin.
No problem. All right, gentlemen, let's go over the housekeeping rules. After the first vote on resolutions, we'll have 4 minutes for opening statements for each team, followed by 2.5-minute rebuttals, I believe. 2-minute rebuttals. Afterwards, the audience will make a deciding vote. Sandy has prepared a timer, and I will be asking you to stop if you run materially over the limit. You will be asked to change your backgrounds to show whether you're on the pro or con side of the debate after the conclusion of each resolution. Always keep your guard up, no shots to the head, keep my instructions, and let's get ready to rumble. All right, first up, Sandy, could you throw up the first resolution? Be it resolved that fast-track CBDs will render stablecoins obsolete. We'll let the audience vote on this. Please vote on this. This will be really, really interesting. Sandy, you can take down the slide. I think that should be okay. Thank you. And yeah, on the pro side will be Louis and Mike. I'm going to call you guys Team Hong Kong. And then on the con side or the against side will be Alisher and Markus. I'll call you guys Team Singapore because you guys were based there most of the last cycle there. But thank you very much. And okay, your 4 minutes. Who's going to be presenting for the poor side? Is it Louis or Mike?
Ben.
Okay, Louis, 4 minutes start when you start. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. To clear things up, I want to talk about what are stablecoins to begin with. Stablecoins, I think of things like Tether or USDC. These are coins that are backed by dollars. When we look at other versions of what is a supposed stablecoin, they're really collateralized loans with the value of $1. So I'm going to take them off the table because this is a 4-minute slot. I'm really going to focus on the fiat-backed one-to-one stablecoin dollars like Tether and USDC. Obviously, these emerged as a fantastic way to solve for moving assets across exchanges back in 2016 when it was really hard to conduct arbitrage. And I was a huge fan of the innovation that came through with that. But that innovation wasn't matched with governance. We've seen protocol risk embedded within these stablecoins. They're generally operating out of offshore entities, unaudited, shadowy governance, there's opaque balance sheets. We don't really know what's going on behind these coins. And that creates a lot of stress. So when I think about what happens for the central bank digital currency, if we could take all of the best parts, we could do a copy and paste on the current stablecoin. Circle would be a great example. If we suddenly have that being issued by a central bank rather than someone in the BVI, we're suddenly taking out the BVI risk. We're taking out the shadowy issuer risk, and we're putting our trust in the financial institutions that we've trusted all of our lives. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of trust in the US government compared to that of the Seychelles or the Bahamas or some of these other offshore jurisdictions. And so we imagine, what does this central bank digital currency look like? It has all the features and attributes of a current version of a stablecoin, but it's also going to be regulatory compliant. When you're moving this around, you're not going to worry about censorship or government coming in and potentially seizing your assets. And, censorship is quite easy when you're running all of your data centers in a very centralized way. We all acknowledge, I think, that we're trying to be decentralized, but the ecosystem is very centralized with the way it's processed. And so having these current batch of tokens are potentially subject to some form of censorship. So if we can have a regulatory compliant token that's running on the blockchain with all of the benefits of being able to move it across exchanges, but in the regulatory light, that's fantastic. That to me is almost better than the current stablecoins anyway. The killer thing about a central bank digital currency is that it's pari passu to the dollar, for example, and it pays interest. Right now, if you're holding USDT, if you want interest on that, you've got to put it into a protocol, you've got to put it into an exchange, and you're doubling, trebling up your risk. Again, you're going from something issued in the BVI to an exchange like FTX that's then running your assets in order to get that interest. Now, if you imagine a central bank digital currency, you'll be able to deposit, yes, on a crypto exchange and take your risk there and trade with it, but you'll also be able to put it into an FDIC insured bank. So straight away, you are eligible to get 3 to 3.5% interest overnight, as you would on normal dollars, plus your FDIC insured for $250,000 in the event of default. That's huge. I don't see any crypto exchange or DeFi protocol out there guaranteeing you $250,000 loss on those deposits. And so I think that as we see these central bank digital currencies come through, if they can have all of the attributes of Circle, for example, but pay interest, be regulatory compliant, I think that they just blow the things like Tether and USDC out of the market. That's my 4 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was actually a very strong opening statement. Just for the guests and for the audience to know, the pre-vote was 40% for, was 40%. Against was 52%, meaning that most people feel that fast-track CBDCs will not render stablecoins obsolete. But you know what? 40% do believe that they will render it obsolete. Starting with the opening statements from the against team. Sure, is that you?
That is me. That's correct.
Excellent. You have the 4 minutes when you start.
Perfect. Thanks, Alvin. No, great arguments there, Louis. I'll get back to those during the rebuttal stage. To present my argument, let's take a look at CBDCs outside of this US-centric context, right, or the European Central Bank. Currently, the Tether market cap's about 65 billion. You got USDC with 43, USD with 22. Now, those numbers are comparative to foreign currency reserves that include gold of countries like Algeria, like Libya, like Colombia. So these countries where you can't even name the president, can't even probably name the regulatory authority, you're saying that those countries are very vast, as you said, with Tether, with BUSD, and with those other currencies. Now, I come from a place where I literally trust the government. I think a lot of people in crypto don't really trust the government. It's a purely libertarian rhetoric that I think Satoshi kind of instilled in all of us. You hadn't had it before from Hayek or Rand or whoever else you got it for Satoshi, right? So now I was thinking about this debate, and I asked myself yesterday, what was the last time I was trying to get money from the government, be it a tax rebate, wherever it may be, try to get on the phone with the U.S. government or the Algerian government, if you prefer that in terms of validity, and try and get your money back, or try and get that company or that entity to really work with you, right? Now, we're not necessarily comparing these to institutions like Tether, like Bitfinex in that case, because the market cap versus the foreign currency reserves are kind of equal. Now, imagine if you took a corporation that's much larger. Take a kind of the corporation with the market cap higher than that of all cryptos out there, right? Something like Africa. Imagine they are the ones to release their own stablecoin, and this goes against the US dollar, or there we've got an equal chance, more or less. It's closer to being converted, maybe a slightly smaller line. Now, in that case, I would much rather deal with Apple customer support or deal with Apple as my counterparty than deal with the U.S. government or any government for that reason, because it is within Apple's inherent interest, and they don't have any other methods of waging war, for example, or any macroeconomic policies that can boost the value of their token. They only got themselves, and it's the free market at work. And I think there's so much beauty to this. Another big argument is all of us voluntarily give up all of our data to Apple or whatever platform you use, social media or whatever else. With CBDCs, obviously the privacy argument is, I don't think I need to say much or waste my time there, but they're going to see exactly every single transaction, exactly what's happening. Last but not least, I think that it's important to consider the technological aspect and the leaps and advances that will need to be done for a closed network, for a private network that generally runs CBDCs to interoperate through atomic swaps, or, I think it's going to be centralized exchanges, to be honest, the same way as it is today. So what is truly the point of that? Now, what that concludes with one thing that is going to sound American to the rest of y'all, but wise man Corporal Williams said, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So these guys are going to be the ones that produce something that is inherently useless, something that we've got already from smaller corporations, right? It's just, you don't have this massive U.S. everything, military industry, currency, whatever else complex backing you, right? You only got this one organization that you face off against. But I would much rather do that than be up against the remaining 200 some countries in the world, each with their own currency.
That was awesome. Thank you, Alisher. I'm going to have to get that soundbite about I'm the government. All right, rebuttals, 2 minutes each for the pro side. Mike, is that you or is it?
I wouldn't mind taking a little bit of this. I might even jump in as well. I thought that was great. I think you nailed it. Trust is a relative concept, right? Do I trust the governments of Algeria more than that of the US? No. So not all central bank digital currencies will be equal, but will they be more equal than the current batch of stable coins like Tether? Probably. When we talk about trust in institutions, FTX is a prime example. Could we say that the governance at Tether is worse than FTX? We don't know. We just have no transparency there. So I think when we talk about central bank digital currencies, I hear you on fearing the government, but trust is a relative concept. When you opt out of your own sovereignty, when you've got to consider what are you sacrificing in interest and what are you gaining in the sovereignty of a corporation. Pause there, Michael. Anything to add? All right, I'll just carry on crushing it. You're right. When you look at the market cap of money outstanding and the sovereignty of central bank in Europe, they will each come with their own default risks, right? And should the euro stablecoin be priced at the same value as a dollar stablecoin, depending on where it's issued from? Potentially not, right? So you could have digital euros issued by the US government trading at a higher value than the euros issued by the Eurozone because the creditworthiness is better. And I don't know if you saw the news this morning on the BIS settlements, they were talking about 85 trillion the blind spot caused by dollars held offshore. And I think stable coins could fall into that same kind of pattern where you benefit from the issuing entity's credit spread within the underlying asset. So that's going to be my rebuttal for today.
Thank you, Lewis. That was fantastic. Final rebuttal and closing statements from the against side, please. Alisher or Markus?
Sure. I got this. All right, going back to the U.S. discussion. I guess the rest of y'all either do or work with U.S. clients. When was the last time one of you had to fill out a WABN or WABEN? Those things are the bane of me and a lot of people working in banking or financial services, and the overarching control of Uncle Sam over the global economy due to the U.S. dollar, due to the tax policies of the country is immense. Today, I think it's the most powerful entity out there. So now, we're here in the traditional system and we're pulling out these forms. Now imagine this currency moves 10 times faster. This moves all over the world. How many of those damn forms are we going to have to fill? This is the government. We're not going to work in an efficient way. We can decentralize all you want. We can put on a blockchain all you want. You're still going to be out there in 2050 filling out a damn form, faxing it to the U.S. government, just as you have to do for a lot of things. Trust me, I've just done it. And you're going to have to run that entire process over. Why the hell are we even doing it, right? Second and last argument, inflation. Libya that I mentioned before, 2.5%. Colombia that I mentioned before, 4.4%. All of these are still going to remain inflationary. So every single CBDC that goes hand in hand with whatever currency it is going to remain inflationary. Technically, stable coins can be an assembly of these. You can average out the rate of inflation. You can operate somewhat independently even and there I see such tremendous beauty, because these are for-profit enterprises that are running. These are not governments, right? So you can actually transform it into something that we're going to argue Bitcoin is inflation later on, but you can transform this into probably the only deflationary asset out there if you really try, right? If you're affluent, you're putting it out there, and you control the monetary policy of that specific currency, you can do tremendous. So I believe in corporations. I don't believe in government. Therefore, corporation.
Thank you, Alisher. I love it. The stretch of imagination. We're already in that leg of the debate. Michael, could you post up the deciding vote for our audience? Who do you feel, or which argument do you feel is more compelling? And do you believe now? Are you for or against being resolved that the fast-tracked CBDCs will render stablecoins obsolete? Could we have that poll, please? Great, thank you. All right, I think this is going to bode well for the next topics coming up. Okay, great. Excellent. All right, so let's close that up. And could you show us the results? $52%. Whoa, let's close it. So we had
Every channel.
well done, Louis. Well done.
I think maybe we'll want this Orwellian future. I think people want to be controlled, honestly. We're just asking for it at this point.
If you've got to remember, like the world, the world's government's just told everyone to stay indoors for a year, and we all kind of complied with that. So,
Good point. Good point.
We did it.
So we got first blood to Team Singapore here. Well done, guys. Oh, sorry, Team Hong Kong. Well done, guys. You kind of inched it out at the end there with 4% difference. Let's go to the next resolution.